Ladies and gentlemen, it is Xjet! Hey, hello Bruce, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Pretty good. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with us. What time is it in your end of the planet?
October.
It's October. I know you guys were ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Way ahead.
I think it's like 2 a.m. or something. Thank you for staying up.
2:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, so ain't no thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Easy,
heck.
man.
All right. Great. Well, welcome to the channel. I'm sure you've been watching all of our silliness, but there's a very serious issue that we're all worried about, and let's just go ahead and get that right out of the way, as people do value your opinion. The whole thing about the NPRM from the FAA, the notice of proposed rulemaking that everyone is dreading. What are your thoughts on how that's going to pan out? Because I know everybody's getting information from all over the place, and even you being in New Zealand, I guess the FAA has influence worldwide in aeronautical rulemaking. Is that right?
Yeah, where the US goes, everyone follows. So, they lay the groundwork, everyone else just sort of carries along in the wake. Although with aviation regulation, every country wants to be unique. They want to make their own mistakes. They're not prepared to learn from the mistakes of others. So we live in hope that they'll look at what the USA's done and go, nah, not going there. Because it's a tragedy, isn't it?
It would be. But do you think it'll pass as it's written now?
Well, I've been around a long time. Don't let these youthful good looks fool you. A lot older than I look. But I've seen this before. I think what's happening here is the FAA's thrown out this really dramatically overreaching set of proposed regulations. And they know they're not going to pass like this. But because of the way the system works, you've actually got to consult and you've got to get submissions and things. It's like when you sell a used car. You know, if you want to sell a used car, you think, I want $5,000 for this used car. You don't put it on the market with a sticker that says $5,000. You say, I want $7,000. And then people come along and go, ooh, it's a bit expensive. I'm not paying that. How about $3,000? And then you come back and say, well, let's split the difference, make it 5. And they think they've got a good deal, and you've got exactly what you wanted. And this is what happens with rule makers. They come out with some really crazy, over-the-top rules, and then they say, we're consulting, and people say, this is terrible. And so they say, well, okay, we'll wind them back a bit. And then they get what they actually wanted. And the people who've have put submissions and go, oh, well, we dodged a bullet there. This is much better than what they proposed. But the people making the rules, they basically step back to the position they wanted right at the beginning. So you're going to be aware that these people are very clever. You know, they're very cunning, and there's a lot of nefarious stuff goes on. So I think you'll see them wound down a bit. One of the changes I think you'll see is that these freers, instead of basically just stopping after 12 months allocating new freers, I'm suspecting that the FAA will come back and say, we listened to the submissions and now we are going to reallocate freers every 5 years. We'll open the window every 5 years for new freers to be allocated. And then the AMA and the model community can't say, oh, you're killing the hobby. They'll say, no, the hobby will go on forever. Just every 5 years you get new flying fields. And so they've diffused it. But even so, it's all the other elements of this regulation are outrageous. And people will overlook that because they scored a victory. We got these freers being reallocated every 5 years. And call me a cynic, but I just call myself a student of human nature.
That's kind of pacification in a way. Do you believe there's a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of negotiation still left? Do we as hobbyists even matter when it comes to a huge government like the United States trying to shake the hand of big business? Do we matter?
We do matter because we're in the way. And so they've got to get rid of us.
What do you think about DJI's response to the proposal? Because it kind of sounded like they wanted us to be on their side. It kind of sounded like they were on our side there.
Yeah, well, DJI, of course, they've got this remote ID built in already, and it's just a firmware update. So I think they were hoping that they'd be in a position where their products would be compliant by default. And that would have put them in a very strong position. So I can understand from a commercial perspective why they are not happy that they are not going to be the only game in town. Everyone's going to basically have to work to the same rule book. And so they are going to be as disadvantaged as everybody.
Yeah, and we have till March 2nd to voice our opinion.
Yes, we do. There's two sides to this, though. I think one of the problems is I don't know that I mean, we're playing the game at the moment. Everyone's making submissions and we're saying, this is terrible. And the FAA is going to come back and say, okay, we'll wind it back a little bit to make you happy. And then when that goes before the politicians who ultimately have to sign off on this, the politicians will say, well, look, yes, the FAA did overstep the mark, but they've wound it back. So let's rubber stamp this new set of rules and everyone get on with things. Whereas if the FAA didn't make any changes, it'd be much easier to convince the politicians that the whole damn set of proposed rules should be thrown out on the basis that it's massive overreach. So we need to be careful what we asked for, because if we get it, we're going to have all the rules that go with it. In hindsight, I would think it's actually probably better to, if the FAA don't make any changes, if they say, no, this is what we want and it's this or nothing, because they will ultimately get nothing in that case. I can't see any politician agreeing to rules that will effectively wipe a hobby off the face of the planet, and one of the safest hobbies there is. I mean, over the years, no one has ever been killed by the recreational use of a multi-rotor drone anywhere in the world in the entire history of the planet. And they've been a thing for over 10 years. I flew my first multi-rotor drone in 2009. And in terms of the RC hobby with model aircraft and helicopters and things, it's about half a dozen people in 60 years of flying. That's about one death per decade. I don't know of any other pastimes that are that safe. So why would you regulate them out of existence? It makes no sense.
Why do you think it is that certain people want to vilify the hobby? There was a university study, I forget the name of the university, that did that really poor test, the slow motion test of the drone going into the wing that was later found out to be a little bit staged. Why do you think it is that people are trying to vilify? Why do you think that people like that woman in the news story are so scared of drones spying, and they just have no...
Well, I was involved in the media back at the turn of the century, and I've seen how the media has evolved in the age of social media. Newspapers and news sources used to make a lot of money by classified advertising. You bought a newspaper and half of it was just classified, for sale, wanted, and personal ads, that sort of thing. It earned them a lot of money. That's where most newspapers made their money. And since social media came along, we got Facebook and eBay, they don't make any money from that anymore. So what they have to do is get people to look at the news stories. So that's why we've got this hype and this clickbait headlines and things, because now they're having to really, really work to get people to look at the news stories, because their only source of revenue is from the ads on those news stories. So we've got a media that's basically sensationalizing everything, and no one wants to read a story that says drone flown safely again in small paddock. They want to read a story that says 3 million people almost killed when drone hits tall building in Oklahoma. That's what they want to read. That's what gets eyeballs on pages. So the media are simply looking out for themselves. They're trying to make a dollar at the bottom end. And of course, it's being pushed along because, our 0 to 400 foot airspace now is gold. They've turned air into gold with Amazon and Google and DHL and a lot of other large corporations. And let's face it, Google spends tens of millions of dollars a year lobbying politicians. They're a very powerful force. So they want this airspace because they're presumably to do drone deliveries. But I think we all know that that's, it's like flying cars. It ain't here and it's going to be a long way off. And there's so many other impracticalities to it. But they want to own the airspace. And the government sees an opportunity to say, well, all these multinationals want this airspace. We can monetize this like they did with the radio spectrum. If you want to use radio spectrum, you've got to buy an allocation. And there's millions and billions of dollars involved in buying a piece of frequency. And they want to do the same with the airspace. Previously, no one wanted the sub 400 airspace because it was too dangerous for manned operations. And there was no commercial value. But now it's becoming really valuable because there's people lining up to use it, commercial big companies lining up to use it. So the governments are saying, well, let's do it. And then you've got the Commercial Drone Alliance, who have actually more or less stated that we can't run commercial drone operations until the hobbyists are out of the air. So the Commercial Drone Alliance has lobbied the politicians, and the politicians have said, okay, we'll get rid of them. Here we go. Here's a new NPRM that'll get rid of them.
So the 400 foot airspace is really because, like you said, the drone deliveries, tube socks zipping around, that's what they're telling us, but they're really trying to allocate that for future use.
Yeah, everyone's trying to stake their claim, basically. It's not going to happen in the next... Let's face it, if you were DHL and you wanted to deliver stuff by drone, you'd use a driverless vehicle. I mean, Elon Musk's already got that technology. Uber's got it. And the beauty is you can take a driverless vehicle. You can fill it with 1,000 packages weighing 2 tons. You can drive around the streets and if something goes wrong, it just sits there on the road. It doesn't fall out of the sky and kill someone. And you can do an entire day's delivery on one charge with one vehicle. You can't do that with the drone. Drones are incredibly expensive, they're incredibly risky, and they're incredibly inefficient in terms of a delivery mechanism. So it is just staking a future claim. People see there's a potential value. Let's get in there, let's stake our claim now, because if we sit on it for 5 years, someone else will buy it off us for a huge amount of money.
Right. Kelly, did you have a question?
Yeah, if you were a prognosticator, if you're a betting man, how do you see this industry changing with this, say, 2, 3, maybe 5 years from now? Do you see it changing minimally, majorly, or maybe somewhere in between?
Yes.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah, but
nobody knows. I've seen people like Deloitte's and that saying, oh, the drone industry is going to be worth $24 billion a year by the end of the decade, and they're all just plucking stuff out of their backside. They've got no clue whatsoever what's going to go on. If I knew, I'd be a rich man. I don't know, because the technology is changing so quickly, and regulations are changing, and the whole public perception. Because the thing that these companies forget is that they have vilified drones to make it easier to clear us out of the airspace, but then they're going to go out there and say, oh, but our drones are better. Yeah, these recreational drones weigh 2 pounds, and if they fall on your head, they'll give you a cut. Our drones weigh 50 pounds. If they fall on your head, you're dead. How are they going to get that past? They can't suddenly switch back. They've laid poor groundwork, and I think that's going to come back to bite them on the backside.
And the powers that be, they have to know that there's going to be a segment of the population that is just not going to listen to any of it. They're just going to keep doing what they want, and I don't blame them at all. I really don't. Kelly and myself, we're both, rule followers. We're Part 107. And I try to set a good example to do that. But, at some point, if it gets too bad, I might put on a pirate patch too. I hate to say that, but what are your thoughts on that?
As you saw in the videos I've done recently, civil disobedience is the only way to deal with this thing. If they bring these NPRMs in, like in the UK where they brought in this registration thing and so forth, and if the people of the UK just simply said, we're not going to register, the whole thing would be over by Christmas, because the CAA, their version of the FAA, have a mandate to recover the costs of operating the system from the people who use it. So if no one's using it, they can't recover the £4 million a year it costs to run it. They'd shut it down. But people, unfortunately, so many people just think, oh, we've got to follow the law. We've got to follow the rules. We're law-abiding people. They don't have the backbone to stand up and say, like Martin Luther King did, that unjust laws should not be followed. In fact, you've got an obligation not to follow laws that are unjust.
There's so many people with the power to change our hobby that don't know anything about it, and it seems sad that they're not consulting more AMA members or people that know stuff about the industry.
This is the thing. We have to challenge them also, because the thing I keep saying is, where's the risk assessment? We're being told this is incredibly dangerous. We need to get drones out of the air because people are going to die, airliners are going to fall out of the sky. When you look at the science, the real science, the George Mason University did a study, and they analysed, based on bird strike data, the number of drones flying, the number of airliners and other manned aviation flights in the world today, and the volume of the airspace. The calculations they did basically came down to the fact that there would be a risk of someone being badly injured or killed every 400 years at current rates of drone and manned aviation use of the airspace. That sounds like a pretty small risk. And if you compare it to the risk of being injured or killed by a falling chunk of space rock, it's actually 4 times less, because at the beginning of last century, we had Tunguska, where people were killed by a meteorite blowing up over the Russian country. And then earlier this century, we had the Chelyabinsk, where just over 1,000 people were hospitalized when a meteor blew up over the town of Chelyabinsk. So these things happen every century, these meteorites exploding over the ground, injuring people. But something that's going to happen 4 times less likely, we're going to regulate. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and you made a really good point in one of your recent videos about getting everybody together. Because there are different factions. There's fixed wing, there's the FPV community, photography drones, and it's tough to kind of get everybody on the same page to do the same thing. I think Kelly, I don't know if you saw his video, but one of the things he suggested was that everybody with a drone flies at the same time in the entire world to demonstrate.
Drone day, call it drone day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
There's also a protest going to happen at the FAA headquarters in Washington, D.C. on the 29th of February. If you Google that, you'll find it. People are going to turn up there and protest at this in a physical way. They're going to actually get off their backsides and show by their actions that they're not happy with this. You've got to take affirmative action. That's one way to do it. Too many people just sit back and let things happen, and that's why we end up with the bad regulations we get. Very
true. And we could talk about this all night. But
okay, let's carry on then. Right.
All right, here we go. Section 2. So for those who aren't familiar with Bruce here, he's got you have 2 channels on YouTube. Is that right? Yep.
Yeah, I have 3, but the other one is a secret one, and it involves nudity.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, you'll give me a link, right? You're going to give me a secret link?
Yeah.
I won't share it, I promise.
Subscription only.
Yeah. But so I guess, which one would you consider your main channel? The RC Model Reviews or the Xjet channel?
It varies. I mean, they're both as important to each other. I made the decision to make 2 channels because my Xjet channel is kind of lighthearted. It promotes the hobby and protects the hobby. It's the fun. It's showing people having a good time and doing, supposedly dangerous things, but not killing anybody. And it also, I try to get people into the hobby. And I've had a lot of people email me and say, look, in fact, I had some veterans said that there was a group of them, I think it was 20 or 30 of them. They all bought AXNs at the same time and got into the hobby because they saw one of my videos on how to build an AXN. That's the kind of thing that I really enjoy hearing on that channel. The other side of the things is the RC Model Reviews, where it's far more serious. It's basically trying to save people money because I know there's a lot of crap out there, and it's trying to educate as well as inform as well as protect you, because there is so much crap out there. Have you seen the Drone X? Do you have a Drone X, Ken?
No.
Oh, have you seen the ads for them?
No.
Oh, you go and watch the video on one of my, I can't remember which channel it's on, but I did a video on it. But it is just, oh no, it's chronic. People are being ripped off left, right, and centre by this company that has made a product called the Drone X, and now they've got the Drone X HD, and they're just absolutely misrepresenting it. And a lot of people are emailing me saying, why don't you do something on this? So I researched it and did a video, and it's had quite a few views, and people have emailed me and said, thank you for saving me from dodging or letting me dodge that bullet.
I think I did maybe see a little bit of that. But your videos are very helpful. You're very informative. Kelly, did you have anything you wanted to ask him? I'm trying to get this video to work.
As far as drones go, Bruce, what's in your arsenal? What do you have that you fly?
Well, I have my big drones.
And your little drones.
and I've got a lot of stuff, as you might expect. I give a lot of stuff away because, unfortunately, the way I've structured my business is that, well, in New Zealand here, everything is taxable. So when I get products for review, I have an arrangement with the tax department. They originally wanted to tax me on everything that I received. So someone sent me a little drone to review and it was worth $20. They wanted me to pay tax on that $20. And I said, no, because it's not worth $20.
Right.
So we had an arrangement. I can't sell anything that I get for review, because if I do, they will assess me for tax on everything I've received as if it was cash value. So I give stuff away, give a lot of stuff away to people, and because that also helps spread the hobby around, And so, yeah, I fly a lot of stuff, but I tend to have a small core of products that I fly because I get one product and I like it, so I use it, and I don't have time to fly. Surprisingly, I don't have time to fly all the models that I have.
I've
have
never
you ever flown a GoPro Karma?
No, don't even.
Aren't they those things that fall?
Yes, they are.
I was going to say, I've never flown a fixed wing. I never have. What do you think that someone who is all about quadcopters, is that an easy transition? Because I know going from photography drones to acro on a FPV drone was a little bit rough for me.
If you've flown an acro drone so that you actually have to fly it rather than just move it around, then fixed wing isn't that much harder. The only thing you got to remember is you can't stop.
Right, you got to keep going, no hovering. Unless, I've seen some of them do this.
Yeah, I do that too, but that requires a lot more skill than with a quadcopter.
Can you fly those crazy gas-powered helicopters that'll lop your head clean off in one single swipe? The ones that are like that?
No, I'm not that crazy. No.
Okay.
It's too dangerous.
That is very dangerous. What's coming up on your channel? What are you working on? And by the way, there's links to his channels in the description if you want to check him out. I urge you to do so if you're not already subscribed. What you got coming up?
Yeah, I've got the usual queue of review products. It's summer here, so I get to review stuff in the summer, which while you guys are sitting there in your cold, you can watch me reviewing cool products. I've got a glider that I've just reviewed and some cameras and bits and pieces. And also I'm finally, today I've just been editing up the video for the little sub 250 gram Outlaw fixed wing model, which can be used as an FPV model or a line of sight model, because so many people have been badgering me to do that. And with the push towards 250 grams, because when I say to people, rebel, I'm not saying break the law. I'm not saying go out there and break the law, but there is movement within the law that you can continue flying legally without registering. That's what I'm trying to get people to do. And for example, in Canada, a lot of people don't realize it, but in Canada, if you fly something that weighs less than 250 grams, not only do you not have to register it, but there are no prescriptive rules. The only rules are do not endanger people or property. Apart from that, you can fly to 10,000 feet if you want to. You can fly anywhere you like, as long as in doing so you don't endanger person or property. There's no prescriptive rules as such. That's a brilliant setup.
Wow, that is nice. Another thing that I admire about you, and I try to do this myself, but not as good as you. You don't take any money from companies at all.
No,
like when you review stuff.
My point of distinction, and a lot of people make the money by affiliate links and all that sort of stuff. And to be fair, it's a lot harder if you're not doing that, because as you know, Ken, YouTube doesn't pay you beans. It's crap, and so. I'm lucky I've got a good support through Patreon. If I didn't have that, I couldn't continue what I'm doing. But I made a deliberate decision not to do paid reviews and not to include affiliate links in my reviews, because I don't want, even though it wouldn't affect my judgment and my decisions, I don't want it to be seen to affect it. So I have to be not only squeaky clean, but be seen to be squeaky clean, and that's what I do.
Right. Not very good for optics, even though I do have affiliate links, and I encourage people to click on them. But there's one.
I must admit, I do have one affiliate link that's in my Xjet channel, and it's a generic link. So that if people want to buy something from Banggood, they can go and click on that first and buy something. But I'm not shilling a product. I'm not shilling anything. Just saying, if you're going to be buying from Banggood anyway, then hey, click on that first. And if you do go to the Banggood link and click on it, you could get one of these lovely wigs like I have. Isn't that beautiful?
Will you model that for us?
We can't get the full effect unless you have it on.
You have to put that on.
Watch my third channel for this one.
Oh, the art of the tease, sir. So there was a company that sent me a drone. They were very nice. Have you heard of the company called LevTop?
No. Okay.
Well, they sent me a drone, wanted me to review it, and it was absolutely the worst drone that I ever had, and I just couldn't say anything nice about it. I just couldn't. I had to be honest. And for those who haven't seen my opinion, here is my opinion on the LevTop.
So it's a keeper then.
Oh, it was terrible. It was the worst drone ever. And you know what they did? They contacted me and they said, "So sorry your drone didn't work. Will you remove the video and try again?" They sent me another one. I said, "Nope, I'm not taking that video off. I'm not doing it again." And I said, "Don't send me the drone." Yet they sent it to me anyway. And so now is your chance to win. You want to do a quick contest? All right. This involves Bruce's channel. And for those in the chat, by the way, I saw a couple super chats go by. Thank you very much. I will scroll back here in a little bit. Your chance to win this piece of crap. Totally terrible. Never even seen it fly. LevTop T1S. I think the S stands for something that I would have to bleep. All right.
Yeah, now.
So now, here's how to win. In the chat, just simply tell me the title of the video that goes with this thumbnail. This is a thumbnail from Bruce's, one of Bruce's channels.
Oh, I know. Do I win?
No, you can't. You can't. You're not eligible. And then we'll find out a little bit more about this here in a minute. But let me know in the chat the title of that video. First person to get it will win. You got it? Got it in your mind?
My first video I posted, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, there's a hint. There's a hint.
And it stars the guy who was in the Star Wars movie, the Clone Rise of the Clones or something, Temuera Morrison. He's a big movie star, and he's driving that thing.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Well, there's some
Yeah,
clues
it's a pretty
for
good
you. So let's see. Who got it? Bruce, are you looking at the chat?
No, I guess I have to do that, do I?
No, that's all right. You don't have to do it.
It's going too fast.
You're our guest. I will go back. I will go back and see who won. By the way, have it in live chat when we're playing games instead of top chat. YouTube defaults to top chat for some reason, trying to save bandwidth or something. And we have some more contests coming up. But the answer, Bruce, what's the answer to that? Or you want me to tell you?
I was lying. I don't know.
Oh, okay. It was called the Xjet Dragster, and it's the very first video on the Xjet channel. And here that is.
The guys, do I look cool?
Oh, as long as they look cool.
Yeah.
Hell, I don't know if I can reach the brake pedal.
She's right, you won't need that.
Oh, what the hell's that?
So, how's your underwear?
Hey, no problem, Bruce.
Yeah?
Still intact. Thank you very much.
Wow, man. You know, I ask Kelly that all the time. I say, how's your underwear? Bruce, what was that all?
Out of the blue, just for no reason, you
Yeah.
asked me that.
What was that all about? What did you build that thing? What's the story there?
Yeah, I used to build pulse jets. I still do, and that's where the name Xjet came from on the channel. And that was a huge pulse jet. The combustion chambers were 36 liters each, and that was on. I think that was on Discovery Channel too. That dragster, and it was from that I actually got I got Scrap Heap Challenge and Junkyard Mega Wars flew me over to the UK and the USA respectively to be part of some of the episodes they filmed there. We did pulse jet powered drag racer on the Centerpod drag strip in the UK and pulse jet powered drag boats on the Long Beach Marine Stadium.
How does a pulse jet work for us dum-dums? Just very quickly. How does that?
It's just like it's a cyclic thing. It sucks air and fuel in, that explodes, it blows out the back, which creates a vacuum, which sucks more air and fuel in, and it explodes. It's just a cycle. So it's not a constant combustion, it's a pulsating combustion, which means they're incredibly loud, incredibly inefficient, and a lot of fun.
It looked fun. And it looked hot. That thing, I mean, it looked like it was going to melt down. But that's the first video. Who won, by the way? Did Kelly?
Christine Olsen was our winner.
Christine Olsen. Congrats. Our one female viewer. That's awesome. Thank you, Christine. And Xjet, thank you so much for taking time to be on here with us tonight. But before I let you go, we do this thing with all of our viewers called Would You Write It? And this is you've seen the manned drones that they have out there, homemade, all kind of things that people ride in. Well,
Yeah, like that Swiss guy, is it?
Yeah, I think there was a Swiss guy.
Hobby King motors and
there's all kinds of them out there, and this one is called the Electra Flyer Personal Flying Machine, and it's tonight's Would You Ride It? So let me know in the chat if you would or would not ride this crazy, crazy thing.
I'm John Manning, founder of Electrafly, and we've invented a personal flying machine, and it's awesome. Our small team is made up of builders, pilots, innovators, and dreamers. With our patent-pending technologies, we're able to benefit vertical takeoff and landing aircraft of virtually any size, whether for personal transportation or package delivery. We know what we're doing is a little crazy, but we also know we have something special, exciting technology that could change the world. The bulk of our innovation is found in three key areas. The wing on the Electrafly reduces lifting burden on the electric motors. It tilts in a hover and maintains a positive angle of attack in forward flight, carrying the load on a wing rather than a pillar of thrust. With our jet-powered hybrid electric system, we are able to offset our battery requirement and replace it with energy-dense fuel. It's very powerful. With pivoting rotors, we're able to support vertical takeoff and landing capabilities, providing stability, ease of control, redundancy, and safety. It's not a drone, and it's not an airplane. The Electrofly is a completely new approach. It's like a bullet bike with wings.
It's not a drone. It's not an airplane. It's an anchor. I don't know.
It's a 3D rendering.
Yeah, that's what it is. You don't really see it flying. You see it being turned on. As an engineer...
Is this a crowdfund? Is this crowdfunded?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured so.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that as someone who is a practical builder of flying things?
Oh, count me in. No, it's so much of this stuff goes on. It's like, see that jet engine? It's got the most fuel inefficient way of converting, or most inefficient way of converting fuel into electricity is to run it through a single stage jet engine and hang a geared generator off the back of it. No, it's like, from an engineering perspective, it's just wrong in so many ways. Some guy's looking for some money to pay for his own enjoyment, and that's what it happened in New Zealand. We had the Martin jetpack. Some guy said, "Oh, I'll strap a skidoo motor on my back with a couple of fans, and everyone will be able to fly around the world." And the New Zealand government, they gave him $1 million.
Oh my gosh!
Because he put a video up where he was standing in a doorway with a rope holding him up and some fans on his back bouncing around like a fool. And they said they gave him $1 million. He was going to change the world. It went to Oshkosh. And they said, within a year, we'll have these things flying around. It'll be the new form of personal transport. 10 years later, bust.
You know, all these things, and New Zealand is like paradise. Why would you want to kill yourself in paradise? I would be so careful.
Better place to kill yourself.
I guess so, yeah. But that thing, the Electroflyer, I'm sorry, but it just looked like a whole bunch of different things that could go wrong.
I can see it slices, it dices, it juliennes. Yes, get it now.
It makes mounds of fries. Most of the people that said yes in the chat, I believe, are under 20 and still made of rubber and crazy.
Yes.
Don't know how physics works. But one more thing before I let you go. In one of your recent videos, and here's a still, and use a Rode microphone on your collar there.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Enhance. Here we go. Zooming in. It looks like you have not peeled the plastic off of... What's the story, Bruce?
Oh, it's a screen. It's a screen protector. I didn't want to get it scratched.
Do you have stuff that you haven't peeled the plastic off of? Because that's kind of a thing on this channel.
Only the seats on my 1994 Toyota pickup.
Oh, okay, all right, good. But like a television, a monitor, a hard drive, stuff like that, you'll take the...
Actually, yeah, someone complained I haven't peeled the screen protect or the plastic off my Tyrannus, which I got in 2013 either.
Well, can you do that for us right now and just rip it off like a Band-Aid?
I don't have it here.
Oh, doggone it. That's all right, yeah.
I'll make a video of it.
Okay, awesome. That would be very satisfying. Bruce, thank you so much for what you do and for what you do for the community and the hobby. It is very much appreciated, and we thank you for taking time to talk to us from paradise.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, man. All right. Again, there's links in the description to check out his channel, and we'll talk to you later, sir.
Okay.
See you, man. Well, he was awesome.
Super nice guy, and it's summertime there. I wish it was summertime here.
Yeah, I'm very jealous.